Greetings. You listen to the BLAINESWORLD show, a special Facebook-only version of the show that's ordinarily heard on Wednesday mornings on WPVM LP in Asheville, North Carolina, 103.7 on your dial. This show, however, is just going to be seen on Facebook Live, and so we're glad you could join us. And it's my pleasure to introduce my guest, my first and only guest, and he is John Baldwin. John, why don't you say wave to all you fans and friends in Facebook world?
Hi there.
Okay, so they're
There's
all
a few
watching.
out there, not too many, but a few.
Okay, well, hopefully there'll be more than a few. And it's my pleasure to have John come on board because John is in the process of directing a show that I'm going to encourage folks to see. It's going to be at Heart, and it's Every Christmas Story Ever Told. And John, before we talk about that
And
show,
then some.
and then some, I'm sorry, I can't forget,
Yeah.
and then some, and it will be then some. There are a bunch of stories you squeeze in there.
Oh yeah, it covers a lot of different things from around the world.
Okay, super. Let me ask you, John, when first time I meet a guest on the air, I'm always curious about their background. And you were telling me off the air that you've been in some sort of theater since, I guess you said second grade.
Yes,
Do you remember what you were in second grade?
I don't remember what the play was, but I do remember that the second grade teacher, Mrs. Sharp, I can't believe I remember her name. I
Wow.
can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I remember her name. Mrs. Sharp asked me to do an Irish accent. And I started that in the second grade doing an Irish accent. And I have been doing dialects ever since, and it's gotten me tons of roles over the years as an actor.
What a shame she's still not around. I assume she's still not around.
I doubt it. She was a lot older than I was, and I'm pretty old at this point. So,
But John, here's this idea I have a fundraiser, and I've told it to other people at Heart and elsewhere. I don't know if I ever shared it with you. But wouldn't it be cool if everybody could do their first role? You know, in other words, when you did it in second grade, I assume they didn't videotape it. Is that correct?
I don't think videotape was even around.
But wouldn't that be a fun fundraiser? Forget second grade. What was the first role you remember? Do you remember?
Oh my God. I think it was probably Neil Simon.
Okay, what
I'm
was
Chloe
it?
Horn. I played the young brother.
And how old were you then? About-
Probably. Well, that was the first role in a real theater.
Right.
I did a number of things in high school. I think the first thing I really did was in high school was Tea House of the August Moon.
Okay. But wouldn't that be fun? Can you imagine if you could tape it, just do that, not the whole show, just a little part of the segment, so you could have a remembrance of when you were a kid, how your very first role. I just thought, wouldn't that be a good fundraiser?
God, it'd be a lot of fun to watch. I don't know if anybody would pay for it, but
People would pay for it, but I just thought that'd be great. So you've been acting then, second grade through high school, then you kept acting all your life for the most part?
yeah, I mean, I had a few interruptions when I was in the service. I was in language school in Monterey, and I did some things with special services. I did some outdoor live shows at Fort Ord for the folks who are headed off to Vietnam,
Very exciting.
and that was a hoot because there was probably 5 or 6 thousand guys out there in an outdoor theater watching the show. So that was really amazing. But then while I was in Japan and Korea for 2.5 years after a year and a half of language school, um, I didn't do anything. Then when I came back, I did one show the first year I got back, and then I went back into school. I didn't do anything for a number of years. I got into respiratory therapy and emergency medicine, so my schedule didn't allow me to do weekends, which is most
Sure.
theaters. When we lived in really rural Maine, or like the nearest stoplight was 60 miles away, so you can see how rural we were. There was no theater. When we moved to LA in 1984, I worked evenings and weekends doing fundraising at the Music Center in Los Angeles, and worked a lot of evenings and weekends. So again, no theater. So for about 20 years, I was really inactive.
Did you
And
miss it?
then when I got a job fundraising at Linfield College in Oregon, I had more of a normal schedule, and I got back into the theater, and that was the early '90s, and I have been working nonstop ever since. I've been really fortunate. I've just been really busy.
Did you miss not being in theater for all those years?
I did, but one of the things too was raising a family and three kids, and I probably spent a lot more time with them than I would have if I had been doing theater. So it was worth it.
And one of the things, John, I've been impressed with finding out about you is aside from being in theater now, you also have this love for directing, and you've done, I guess, a bunch
Yes.
of directing.
hmm
When did you start getting into directing?
It was about 9 years ago. I did a British comedy called Run for Your Wife at a place called Broadway West in Fremont, California, and it was. I just got hooked. I mean, I had been working in fundraising for years and years, and I was a manager, and the management techniques of collaboration just seemed to transfer so easily to theater, and I just really enjoyed it. And when I'm directing, I have preconceived ideas, but as the process goes along, I love those moments of epiphany when you see something and you go, "Yes, we need to do this." It's just it's a whole different sensation than being an actor. But I think coming from so many years of acting and then moving into directing as well, it kind of gave me an insight into what the actors need and want as well. So I think it makes me a better director because I know what actors do.
Now, the question, John, I always ask directors and actors as well, is if whether you have a preference, acting or directing.
Well, these days I'm leaning more towards acting because as I get older, lines are harder to learn.
No, more toward directing.
Directing, yes,
Yeah, it's funny.
but I still love performing. And well, I mean, we did a show together at the Magnetic. Um, that was the last live theater performance I did was at Magnetic. We opened on a Friday, and because of the pandemic, we
Right.
closed on Saturday or Sunday.
I was so lucky, though, weren't we, that we were able to at least do it for the weekend? So many people, can you
Yeah.
imagine, didn't do it. But it was
Mhm.
funny, John, that role, I guess it's the first time I'd seen you, maybe worked with you. But boy, you hit that role. That was like the perfect role for you, I thought. Uh,
Yeah, the grumpy old man is always these days.
I don't, I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
But no, but you really seemed to, hit that role, and you seemed to have, in a perverse way, you had fun with it. It's just, it was.
Well, that was a terrific cast all the way around. It's just too bad we never got to finish the run because as an actor yourself, how things progress as a show moves from beginning to end of run. Things change and usually get much better. They progress usually in a hopefully in a positive way, and we just never got that chance. We had that one weekend, and it was a fun show to do. So.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because I'm thinking the same thing too. When I first read the play, it was called Traitor. I think Traitor, right, was the name of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And I didn't love it the first time I read it and seeing it, And until I got into it with rehearsals and, working it a couple of weeks, it kind of really grew on me. I don't know if you had that experience, but, I'm just sorry we didn't pick it up or do it again sometime. It's a very interesting play, I thought.
Yeah, and I was just really sad to get to know those people, and all of a sudden I don't think I've seen any of them again except for you until now.
Yeah.
Uh, it was some really great folks in that cast.
John, what got you to Asheville then? So we're blessed that you've been in Asheville now the last couple of years. How come you came out this way?
We I had been retired for several years, and my wife left her job. She's consulting now, so she's not completely retired. But we have two kids who live in the Charleston area,
Okay.
grandkids. So we wanted to sell our house at a very good time in Half Moon Bay, California, and we made a killing there. So it was time to do it, and we just wanted to be nearer them. That was it basically. And then Asheville was a really good choice because I did a lot of research, a good theater community. So it was the place to go.
And to your credit, you really jumped into Asheville pretty quickly. In other words, I had never seen you before, and all of a sudden, I see you at a bunch of places and doing different plays. That's kind
Mhm.
of exciting that you were able to jump in this quickly.
Well, I was really pleased that I got accepted into the community so quickly, particularly at Magnetic Theater. Um, and then the pandemic just kind of threw everything, threw a wrench into the works. I mean, it just really messed up everything. But I managed to do a few things online and on film during the pandemic. But it was just really, it was real. I was really sad for me because all right, I'm really getting into this year, and now everything just went crazy all of a sudden.
And no offense to film or no offense to, Zoom stuff, but I don't know about you, live theater is just so much, it's where I want to see theater, as opposed to
Yeah,
anywhere else.
I do some work in film. I do some work in commercials and some voiceover stuff, and I enjoy those things because I like process and things that are new. I like to study the process. Um, but yeah, theater is definitely the first love.
So John, let's fast forward then to, I guess, December, I'm looking at the dates here, December 10th to 19th. You're directing what I think is going to be a very interesting play. Talk a little bit about it, if you would.
This is a very unusual Christmas play. It's not the Christmas Story. It's not Miracle on 34th Street. I mean, it's just madcap fun. It is three characters. They start out getting ready to do Dickens' Christmas Carol, and
Right.
then a couple of the actors rebel and say, we don't want to do this. Everybody does it. We've always done it. Why do we have to keep doing Christmas Carol? And so they decide they're going to do other things. So they do a lot of other different stories, a lot of things that people know. But the second act is hilarious. It's a combination of Christmas Carol and something else that is just so much fun. It is a show that has tons of costumes, props, sound cues. I think the light designer has over 100 light cues. It's just a very busy, busy, busy show, but very, very funny. And it was the three people who wrote it were the original performers. Uh, and as a director, I've always told casts that I am a strict person when it comes to memorizing the lines that the director wrote. Well, these guys give you permission to fool around. You don't
Oh,
necessarily have to read the lines the way they wrote it because
oh,
it just
my
doesn't
kind of
work.
play.
And you can add things that are contemporary, in place of the things that they did originally. So it's just a lot of fun. I mean, my wife is just so happy that I'm doing this again. She's telling all her friends, all our friends, you got to see this. It's a great show. It's so much fun. So I'm looking forward to it. We have our first our first dress rehearsal tonight, and we open on Friday, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, it's funny you said that, John, about being a show not seen elsewhere because I've always had too many of the same shows over and over, and even this coming season, I give all the theaters credit for doing them, but I've seen them, one, two, five
Well,
times,
how many times have you seen Christmas Carol?
right,
I mean, it's
and
just yeah,
I want to see it again this coming season, so.
yeah. I mean, it's a great show, but it's not the only.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the fact, John, too, that you've assembled a dynamite cast. Talk a little bit about them.
Um, I was just really pleased that we could get these folks. We didn't have a whole lot of people show up for auditions. I was kind of surprised. I mean, but I think a lot of people had already been committed to other shows. But I've got David Spivey, Will Azell, and Dakota Mann. Uh, they just hit the ball out of the park at auditions and improvised. I told them to do things over the top, and they did. And because this play is kind of like in that vein, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them on stage. We had some folks, coming in. Some designers come in last week to see the show so that they could plan some stuff, and it was nice after seeing so many rehearsals over and over and over and over again to hear other people see the show and hear them laugh. knowing that, okay, this is going somewhere. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's a good group.
Well, talk about the group also. I'm impressed by the fact that I assume that some of these people are going to be playing more than one role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's constant changing of roles and costumes and props. Yeah, it's just, I mean, the reason we have to do it in the main theater instead of in the Fangmeyer is because we need the wings and backstage for costumes and props. There'll be tables and tables of props and costumes. So it's, yeah, it's definitely a busy, busy, busy show for the actors and for the people working backstage.
Well, back to your even acting days. Did you ever have a play, I assume, where you played more than one role?
I did the It's a Wonderful Life, the radio show one
Okay,
time.
sure. Yeah.
I did 13 different voices.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
including, and my favorite was obviously Clarence, the angel. Yeah.
but on that one at least, John, you can somewhat look at a script at times, or it's because the radio version. Here, I assume that people are not looking at the script at any time.
No,
Yeah, so
not at all.
that's going to be a lot of fun. We should give a shout out also, especially for this show. I guess you mentioned two people, but one is going to be your stage manager. I guess has a very pivotal role in this play.
Oh, yes, definitely. And she's been doing costumes and props as well. Ginger Peterson has just been working her tail off, and getting ready for the show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to get ready. And it's just because it's supposed to be an impromptu show. The props and costumes are kind of oddly bizarre. They're not normal. Maybe even a little crazy. So she's had to really work hard to get all that stuff together. She's done a great job.
Do you prefer doing comedy or drama?
Boy, that's a difficult one. I mean, I have enjoyed so much doing some comedies over the years, but I've had some really great roles. I mean, doing Tennessee Williams and things like that, and Arthur Miller. I have some favorite roles, but they go both ways. I couldn't really say that I have a favorite in either genre.
Put you on the spot. Favorite. One of your favorite roles was what?
Probably one of the last ones I did in California. I played an Afrikaans minister in a play called The Road to Mecca.
Good, don't know it. Yeah.
With, by it's a South African playwright. Just really, really enjoyable role because I had to learn the Afrikaans dialect as well. But it's just a really well written play, and it was just three cast members, two women and myself, and it's just and it really is a commentary on somebody being committed to the arts. In this case, it was sculpture, but people being committed to a life and not being pigeonholed by other people in a narrow-minded community. It was really a great play.
Would you ever see yourself directing that play in this area?
Oh God, yes, yes. I mean, there are a number of plays that I've done over the years that I would love to direct. I've had the opportunity to do the same play a couple of times, and it's interesting doing a role with a different cast and a different director. So being the director doing the show would be another way to look at it. It's just, yeah, I would love to do that.
John, in terms of the upcoming play, I think I have it right this time. It's Every Christmas Story Ever Told and Then Some. Um, what are the dates again? And talk about where it is and talk about getting tickets.
Heart Theater in Waynesville. It's a county arts organization, and the tickets can be gotten at on the website hearttheatre.org. That's HARTTHEATRE.org. And we open on Friday the 10th, and Friday the 10th and the 11th, and the 17th and 18th is at 7:30 p.m. And then the 12th and the 19th, 2 p.m. matinees.
Okay. And the other good thing folks should know, first of all, beautiful theater. The Hart Theater is just a fantastic theater. And if you come out to Waynesville, you'll also find they have some great restaurants out there and just a
Oh,
really,
yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, on the evening of the 11th, my wife and I are going with friends to the chef's table before the show. It's a great restaurant. There's a number of good ones out that way.
And John Baldwin, what do you see yourself doing after this show? So you're directing this show. Do you have anything lined up yet?
I'm supposed to be doing something with Magnetic over the next year, but I don't know exactly what. But then the following season, I've been asked to direct a play called The Wind Phone, or it's called Wind Phone, not just Wind Phone, and it's from a playwright in Chicago. And I hope that we manage to get there to do that show. It's just a lovely play. And it has its basis in some personal experience that I have. So it's my opportunity, I hope, to direct 3 women.
And that'll be, where will that be?
Characters. I'm sorry?
Where will that be?
That's at Magnetic Theater in
great. Okay.
River Arts here in Asheville.
Okay.
I've been asked to do that, and I said yes, absolutely. We were going to do it as a staged reading, but the pandemic hit, and I think that Katie is trying to persuade the playwright to do it just as a straight production because it's ready. It doesn't need a reading.
Phenomenal. And I don't know about you, but no offense to stage readings, I love plays, actually seeing them as opposed to the stage reading. Mm-hmm. John, if somebody wants to keep track of you or find you or see what you're up to, is there any way they can get in touch with you?
Gee whiz. I mean,
are you on Facebook at all?
I am on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, so they can find
I don't do much social. I mean, I don't do much social media. I usually use social media just to promote plays that I'm either acting or in or directing. But or I kind of keep tabs on all my friends from around the world. But it's not something I. I mean, I have a YouTube page where I put up stuff, that I've done and things like that. But
have you ever done both acting? Have you ever done both acting and directing at the same time? Have you ever directed yourself?
No, but I almost did in this show. So.
Oh, really?
But, yeah. So, but we managed to get that third actor. But yeah, it didn't really come close. I just thought, well, that's a possibility, but
okay, but that would have been a challenge. Yeah. Anyway, John Baldwin, I'd like to thank you very much for being my guest on the special video edition of the Blaine's World Show. Look forward to seeing you in the Every Christmas Story Ever Told and Then Some at Hart Theater on December 10th and 19th. And as always, a pleasure. If you would just stay on with me for a second, John, as we sign off, and I'll catch you in just a bit.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate you pushing the show.
Okay, well, anytime, any place, anywhere. I'd also like to thank Amy Pierce, my producer, and we'll see you at a regular time on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. here on WPVM 103.7.